Welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. I'm your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is Black Minds News. Black Minds News is to report, articulate, transmit, communicate, insinuate, develop, investigate, unveil, decode, spread the news, whether by news, video, website, or quotes from publications. As I articulate this information, I accept the creator of the universe, be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit, because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created this place that we call the United States, we, the foundational black Americans, the bloodline historical lineage, the historical people known as slaves, we who call ourselves today BADOS, Black American descendant of slaves, others say Black African descendant of slaves, some say ADOS, American descendant of slaves. We, the today children, offspring, and present generation, we give honor to our ancestors. And you know what the motto of my show is? I'm never gonna tell you what I heard. I'm only gonna tell you what I know. Well, today's date is August 30th, 2019. Did you hear? We're gonna go over to, remember those who are avid watchers of this show. Remember back at that Asheville mall where there was a white man who seemed to have been confronted by some youngins, and the individual, after being kind of taunted and razzed by, came out with the bing bang boom on an 11-year-old. Gave it a one big pop. Shot that ran across social media around the world. A lot of people felt some kind of way after viewing what they seen. Big white man punching out 11-year-old girl. But a lot of people assessed the situation and kind of felt like, well, where was the right and where was the wrong? And so one thing led to another. That story had been over back in January. Today we're now in September. Right? Did I say August? I said August, and I actually got August on the screen. I have to apologize for that. I just knew I changed that. So, anyway, it will be changed when you see it. So, it is now September. Since January, so we're gonna say it's been about 7 to 8 months ago, 9 months. We're gonna say 8 months ago. They finally came out with a decision about what took place on there. So again, we as Black Minds News will go ahead and take this article, disseminate it for you, give you all the proper so that you can have a full picture of what took place, and you will determine how you think this is, and I will give you my opinion as we go along. So again, stay tuned for the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube, and stay tuned for this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing? Again, I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds. And again, I want to thank each and every one again. Today's day is September the 2nd, 2019. First and foremost, I want to say, what's good to my fam? old subscribers and new subscribers all together. I'll see you as fam to the show. Peace and love to each and every one of you. Thank you for your participation. And I know some of y'all home with this so-called holiday, right? So again, thank you each one kindly from Mr. Blows Your Mind. Passerbys, if you should happen to pass by, this is the most hated show on the Black Corner of YouTube. Reason why that is, we could get you on the 75,000. That's 250,000 views, 50,000, 30,000, 20,000, so forth and so on. Today of 2019, we done crawled a little bit past 100, 200 on a couple videos. But again, you would ask yourself, it's something that's open 24 hours, 365 days of the year. How is it possible? I could just say that maybe some people say, well, no, I don't like what you're talking about. I would beg your pardon that there is people who like the content that we do over here on Black Mind. But again, you don't allow it to get out. So again, been in the business for 7 years, had 2.9 thousand subscribers, and you tell me if we are not the most hated show in the Black Corner of YouTube. Go down the aisle, see something you might like. You may see something that may make you feel some kind of way. Remember that the motto of the show is the truth. Don't need no partner. Now let's get into today's topic. Well, as I was saying to you in the intro there, right? That, that story that went back in North Carolina, right? So you know how I got to do it. I'm going to set it up for you. Go ahead and I'm going to read the article to you right quick. And I'm going to come right back after that. So stay for a minute. Be right back. North Carolina man avoids jail time sentenced to racial justice workshop after brutally punching 11-year-old black girl. You know I'm going to say that again. North Carolina man avoids jail time sentenced to racial justice workshop after brutally punching 11-year-old black girl. Stories coming out of The Root. And this is how this is going to read. A North Carolina man who was arrested in January for brutally punching an 11-year-old black girl has been convicted of 2 misdemeanors. David Stephen Bell pleaded guilty of misdemeanor assault on a child under the age of 12, as well as 1 misdemeanor count of assault on a female for pushing a 13-year-old girl during the incident. According to the Buncombe County Clerk's Office, a second misdemeanor charge for pushing another 13-year-old girl was dismissed due to difficulties contacting the victim, according to District Attorney Todd Williams. In January, the Root reported that Bell, 51, pushed and punched an 11-year-old girl in the face outside of the Asheville Mall in Asheville, North Carolina. He is listed as 6'5", 250 pounds, and an incident reported taken at the scene. According to Williams, Bell received a 60-day suspension sentence and has been placed on unsupervised probation for the next 12 months. Additionally, Bell will be required to complete anger management counseling and participate in a racial justice workshop within the next 90 days. He will also be responsible for paying a court fee of less than $200. In the immediate aftermath of the assault, Asheville attorney Andy Banzoff tried his best to garner sympathy for Bell by asserting that he suffers from both post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. However, that's no excuse for what transpired, and if anything, the lack of severe punishment for assaulting a child serves as the latest example of America's continued disregard for black life.
Now at 5, a Buncombe County man accused of assault on an 11-year-old girl is also facing 2 additional charges. And all of this stems from an incident outside Asheville Mall on Saturday. That video has gone viral. In the 28-second clip of video that you see behind me, you can see a crowd gathered outside the mall entrance. There's yelling. A man stands in the middle of a group gathered outside the mall. You see him shove one girl who's outside, and then she runs at him and throws a punch. The girl hits the ground, and the crowd scatters. Fox Carolina's Brandon Livornia is live at the courthouse with the latest on this case. Brandon?
You know, we learned that this was just one of the many calls that Asheville police have responded to this year. And in fact, over the last 3 years, their calls for service at the mall have actually gone up each year. Now, according to police in 2016, they had 1,037 calls. And then 2017, that number went up to 1,115. And in 2018, last year, they had 1,397 calls. Now, this call has caught a lot of attention. 51-year-old David Bell was already charged with 1 count of assault on a female under 11. Police say Bell pushed and hit an 11-year-old girl at the Asheville Mall Saturday evening during a fight. An off-duty officer arrested Bell on scene. Police say later that night, 2 13-year-olds came to the Buncombe County Magistrate's office and said Bell also pushed or hit them. Now, CBL Properties, which runs the Asheville Mall, sent us this release earlier today. We have a, quote, "We have a number of security measures in place that cover both the interior and exterior of the property. In addition to maintaining a full-time professional security team, we have partnered with the Asheville Police Department and hire off-duty officers to patrol the interior and exterior of the property. Since Saturday's incident is currently under investigation by the Asheville Police Department, we will have to direct any questions to them," end quote. They also will be reviewing anything to see if any additional measures need to take place or any adjustments need to be made. Now, Bell will appear in court February 5th, where we'll learn more. His lawyer is currently declining any sort of statement at this time, but we'll keep you up to date as more information becomes available, of course, on air and over at foxcarolina.com. But for now, live here in downtown Asheville, Brandon Livornia, Fox Carolina, the 5 o'clock news.
Brandon.
All right, so we're back. All right. So again, this is coming out of where? North Kakalaka, Asheville, North Kakalaka, North Carolina, where an incident took place with a 51-year-old individual named David Stephen Bell, who again was accosted, according to those originally who seen the story. I had the original cut, then I didn't put it in this one, because due to the simple fact that, again, we don't want to just keep reiterating that image so that, you know, some people get their delight in watching us go through that trauma, or, you know, putting in the minds of some of these people who want to copycat. Because again, when we look at this situation, we have to ask ourselves, was there a lot of leniency in this? Maybe sometimes everything is not going to be held to the full extent of the law, but the way that they do it, it just keeps repeating the same old, that you allow the season for certain things to happen to BADOS and ADOS. So we see that this David Stephen Bell, again, was caught on video punching an 11-year-old girl after, again, we're not understanding all the ins and outs, because it seems like they're trying to hide that part. how does a grown man, 51, get in confrontations with youngers? And I know in today's, and a lot of people may agree and some may disagree, that again there is a unruly aspect to, again, the young ones out here not having respect and so forth, but now having a lot of home training. So what happens is then they again get in those groups, and a lot of times some people, if you don't have that S in your heart, that S is that Superman in your heart. A lot of times most people won't even go where they're at because a lot of them may be afraid of the young, ruly, wild ones out here. Again, you got to put yourself, you once upon a time was in their shoes. So when you ain't got many places, ain't got no money, ain't got no job. So, the thing is get together. We're made fun according to our association with each other. And then sometimes somebody come up with an idea and we end up doing some things maybe we shouldn't. But again, the mall is a place young people go because, again, you either window shopping or it's just the association of being around other people, trying to meet, greet, and, that whole thing. So the mall is some kind of place, kind of like taken away where people don't go to the playground, or they're going to go in a place where, again, you can spend money. This is the merchant's land, so it's always a grand opportunity for them to make some cash. They don't mind having the unruly in there as long as you got some money because, again, we have security and stuff. So anyway, something take place. But again, if you remember the video, it seemed like there was a family incident. There was another little girl. But again, they don't even talk about that. So we don't even know if that's even really relevant or not. But we do know what we did see in the video was that we did see Stephen Bell cold cock the young girl. She would run up, and a lot of people would say, well, if you run up on a grown man, then expect to get what you get. Okay, let's just say if you take that position and, when it's a domestic violence situation in your house and police called, when those who have been through that situation, going through domestic violence, and whether the charges was dropped, again, if you've been around since the time of OJ, after the OJ Simpson trial case, a lot of brothers was getting to spend that time in jail over arguments that sometimes either, sometimes your significant other or the person you was dealing with at the time make the phone call, or depending if you live in a residence where it is connected like an apartment building, other people may have called. And so once the police came during that particular time, there was no really conversing, trying to figure out, the man, especially the black man, he was going to jail, and let it sort it out as you go through the process. Right? And so they was having the states, they were going to pick up, they even changed the law where they said, well, it got to the point where it was kind of a ritual. Remember that? It was kind of a ritual where you go through the process, got back home and made up or whatever it was. Again, maybe you didn't put your hands on, maybe it was just an argument, and because of dealing with the police, it became, maybe it could be, the old one they like to use on us all the time, resisting arrest, and then they try to, throw enough shit on you to make shit stick. And so it ended up, got to the point that, there was this whole ritual going through that, and then the women were dropping the case. And so the state started noticing that. They said, hell no, we're going to start picking it up. Regardless of what she said, we're going to pick that shit up. And so then again, brothers would go through that whole process again, having a job and had to keep going continuous to court. Now, that the whole process, right? That my brothers had to go through something like that. And so you don't get no leniency when they're dealing with that aspect. And that's grown folk who actually have a relationship with each other. So here's somebody outside of that who, again, we'd assume that one don't know one from Adam, in an environment that you can't say that they had no business being there, but we don't know all the ins and outs. But we do see, as the video did display and show, that he cold cocked, knocked girl out like grown man. So a lot of people were appalled by that. They was like, damn, did you see that? Woo. So what happens is, based on, again, what we call social journalists, as myself, Black Minds News, and others in the Black Corner of YouTube and social media and other platforms and so forth, brought light to the attention, and then they had to go get Mr. Bell. So we see that based on that whole ordeal that happened back, according to say in January, that they said that Stephen Bell he had ended up pleading guilty of the misdemeanor assaults. Now, they was misdemeanor assaults, okay, I guess one punch, regardless to the magnitude of the punch, the shock value that it did on the vision, but it was one punch, and they said, well, it was a misdemeanor, and this is assault on a child under the age of 12. And they also had a one count for misdemeanor of assault on a female for pushing a 13-year-old. So the girl he pushed before the punch, they charged him for the pushing. Those are weak charges. What you gonna get for pushing? Again, but a grown man touching the child, that's where the line is drawn, right? That's what a lot of us as black folks is looking at. The line is drawn when a grown man is dealing with a child, and that's a no-no. We're not supposed to allow that to take place. But so again, at that point, there was no grown folks that we were aware of, and if they were, shame on you. And so we see that also there was a third individual there. There was another 13-year-old girl that they dismissed that due to the simple fact they said the difficulties of contacting the victim. Now, wait a minute. What do you mean you can't contact somebody, right? So did anybody know who she was, her name was, and all that other stuff? But somehow reason, not able to get this individual there, again, make it a little bit more leniency so that, again, the judicial system could do what it's going to do, as I'm going to relate to you if you didn't catch it. And so what we see is that the Asheville Mall security guards, the one that said was an off-duty cop, which is primarily anytime you have security, most of these have, off-duty cops. So they somehow arrest him. But again, when the story first broke, they never said they didn't arrest him at no mall. But they saying that now, they say, they arrested him at the mall. See, the stories don't never fit when they're really in when it's hot and live. That's why Mr. Blows Your Mind, Black Minds News, we don't jump right out when the story just break. We kind of let it simmer. You know what I'm saying? Put all the season in there. You want to simmer so you can get all the good taste in there. Otherwise, you may jump out the window, say some things, and then come to find out that wasn't even really the story. So sometimes I let stuff kind of marinate before I come out and do it. But in this case here, they try to say that he was arrested at the mall, but then I don't think that's really what happened. But again, I heard, according to what I read, that he turned himself in. So anyway, neither here nor there. And so we see that they tried to list the fact that, again, he was 6'5", 250 pounds, again, 11-year-old girl. Strength, vigor, man, child. So in that sense, it's supposed to be some kind of constraint on an adult to a child, right? I mean, yeah, you can get to a level, but then again, as the adult, you're supposed to have the higher prevail of conscience and understanding to either de-escalate a situation or learn how to, get up out of it. Now again, you cross the line when you start approaching grown men, touching grown men, and some people have hair triggers, and so that will end up happening, right? We don't condone it, and a lot of people, again, people say they wish they would have been there. Maybe they would have gave him, some of his own medicine. But, again, the lesson was to be learned in all form and fashions, and that when you really look at it. So again, we see that the court ended up doing what? You see, he received a 60-day suspension sentence. So instead of him spending any time, right, they weren't going to give him no time. So they suspended the whole 60 days. And then they put him on unsupervised probation. Unsupervised probation. That's basically like no probation at all, right? You're using the term probation, but really there is no probation. And when you say probation, right, sometimes I have to do that because, again, there's some people, again, younger people who don't know that, and you have to learn these things. And it's incumbent on those who are out here, we have to kind of detail and lay out certain things. So probation is the evidence which proves a thing. The act of proving proof, trial, test used in later sense when referring to the initial period of employment during which a new transfer or promoted employee must prove or show that he is capable of performing the required duties of the job or position before he or she will be considered a permanently employed in such positions. As applied to teachers, terms means that teacher is on trial with the competence and suitability remaining to be finally determined. Now that's one way originally when they was using probation. And that's basically when you have a job, right? You have 90 days, 60 days, you know what I'm saying? A situation in the family where I see an individual, he might be hearing that, man, say it's just so much nonsense out here working that you can't get a week. But anyway, that's for another topic, another day. Sentence imposed for commission of crime whereby a convicted criminal offender is released into the community under the supervision of a probation officer in lieu of incarceration. It is not a matter of right, but rather is an act of grace and clemency available only to those defendants found eligible by the court. It implies that defendant has a chance to prove himself, and its purpose is reform and rehabilitation. For this purpose, the defendant must agree to specific standards of conduct and the public authority operating through the court, implying promises that if he makes good, his probation will continue. However, his violation of such standards subjects his liberty to revocation. It says, in determining whether the defendant is entitled to a sentence of probation, the court looks to such matters as the nature and circumstance of the offense, the history and characteristics of the defendant, and the need for the sentence imposed. And it says the defendant is entitled to be represented by counsel in probation proceedings under the Sixth Amendment. Okay, so we see basically the second to the bottom part is where this is at. So based on his background, what he had done in life, as into not being a part of the criminal system, so we would not know that unless we could do that kind of research. I mean, that is available these days. You can look up anybody's background for a fee. We in the merchant's land, so you can do that, and so we could really find out and to see was it really leniency? Because again, what we say, they suspended a 60-day sentence. He was on unsupervised probation. So basically, instead of like those who know about probation, going to see your probation officer, whatever specified time you got to keep going there and make some time to go see that, he ain't got that, and he got 12 months. So basically, he just got to walk the narrow straight for 12 months. Now I had to be accosted by no police, going to the police station, being arrested, and his probation period will end after 12 months. Then they gave him some stipulations to require him to complete anger management counseling. So this is really where his kind of like community service part he has to do to render the reason why he's able to walk, and this is how they justify it, right? So he's going to have to do some anger management, right? And then they say he has to participate in racial justice workshop within the next 90 days. Now, wait a minute. What is racial justice workshop? What's that? They teach you how to not hate black folks any damn more? Not to say nigger any goddamn more? I mean, what is that? What kind of workshop is that, right? That they now got that. You knew they're going to have to implement that because they got to find the back door to when they're in situations. But again, you don't know, was this racially motivated? Was there some hatred about it? Was there some anger about it? Because again, you being black, he being white, had nothing to do with the difference between your adult and there was a child. That had no random, because again, would that had been a white, would you had done the same thing? Was that a white girl? And if you were doing it, would you had cold-cocked her like that? We gonna say it's B-A-D-O-S, A-D-O-S. We probably say 99.9% that you would not have cold-cocked if she was the damsel in distress, Becky, Snow Bunny, and all that other stuff, right? We just know that was not going to take place. And so we see also that, again, 90 days, you got to complete that. So, I mean, it must, how many hours is that? A workshop. A workshop could be an hour, right? It's nothing, right? So you go in there, maybe take a little test. Should you say the word nigger? No. In public, no. You know what I'm saying? Should you say the word nigger in public? You got to check the right box. Of course, the politically correct word is no. Do you punch little people, little black people, and public. You check the boxes, complete the test, you pass the test. All right, you done complete the workshop, right? Something like that. Then it said something to the fact that he was responsible to pay for a court fee of less than $200. Really? So let's look at this. So what message is actually being sent here? The message is that, okay, if you're white and you're an adult and one of these little nigglets, these little nigger kids out here, come running up on you in some kind of way and you feel kind of threatened, I know you can't pull out your gun. But, one good punch, if you get one good cold cock, and this is the female one, I ain't talking about the nigger boy, we're talking about the little niggeress, right? If you cold cock her, all right, now just make sure that your background is clean. You've never been in here, don't have no background, right? None of that stuff. We're going to suspend your sentence. You get a 60-day suspension time. I'm going to put you on unsupervised probation, right? For 12 months, whole year. Just don't get it, don't punch another one. You don't got to hold it after 12 months, one day, you can go back to it. But for 12 straight months, don't you do it. I know it's itching. You get that spider sense tingling, but you're going to have to quell it. Then, just to make it, because again, Mr. Blow Your Mind, I told them about the Iceman inheritance. So they know we have this kind of aggression. So we're going to have to say you have some anger management, okay? Because we know that, that we're black. And, it was antagonizing you, and, we know our tolerance is not that high for that, so I know you lashed out. So what we're going to do to put it on paper to make it copacetic that everything again, so when we tell the nigger, say, look, he went to anger management, right? Went to anger management, and then we're going to have a ratio that we need that part there. You got to have something, because, the nigger's going to say, racial. There was some racial in there somewhere. So we got to do that. We got a racial workshop now. This is going to be a new avenue now. You might be one of the first ones again here in Asheville. You're going to be one of the first ones. So again, all right. So we're going to cover all the corners. All right. And then you got to do something. Okay. We're trying to cover everything. So again, we know, because they're going to say if he was black, Stephen, we know this, right? Come on. Gotta do this, right? Come on, David. All right. So what we're gonna do is gonna make you pay a little fine. Yeah, I know. Come on, it's under $200. Yeah, you fuck that off every night. Just drinking beer. Huh? Come on, you can do that, right? So here it is. Those are what is laid out. So what is the message saying? If you can fit this same thing like him, you can get a punch off for that. But we know we're black. You couldn't get that. That's not one of the prizes of the doors you can pick. You got a Hobson choice. You know what a Hobson choice is? Hobson choice is this. Story is, dude came in to buy him a horse. Coming to this place that has a barn. They got a lot of horses in there. So he wanted to, go in there and buy him a horse. He goes in, and Hobson tells him, he said, everything in for sale. He said, everything ain't in here for sale except for the one by the door. Huh? All these damn horses up in here, right? Let's say you have 500,000 horses up in there. The only horse that's for sale is the one by the door. So, do you really got a choice? No. So that's what it is. When black folks are under the situation, we have Hobson choice. There is no choice. This is the only option we got for you. Now, when it comes to white folks, we seem to find everything. Because, see, even the lawyer, he knew this. And again, what is the subliminal in this, right? Remember, the lawyer had said that, they said that Andy Banshoff, he tried his best to garner sympathy for Bell, right? He asserted that David Bell suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, I hear that. Post-traumatic. Where do you hear that post-traumatic come from? That's military, right? Post-traumatic, and it said traumatic brain injury. So we must assume that David Bell is ex-military. I think that. So, ex-military, right? So him being ex-military, and done went through the traumatic experience of war, and he's not so stable of his mind. He's stressing out from what he done built through, and he caught a brain injury, maybe some sharp metal or just whatever that might be. They might be playing in there, but again, so I'm saying, okay, so maybe he ex-military or something like that, huh? Post-traumatic, okay. Well, black folks got the same thing, but how is it that black folks can be under the same duress, same scenario, but you have never seen in any case that be public? We can't say all the private ones. We're going to say public one. I remember when I did the one, what was his name? Kemp, the boy Kemp, when he came in the courtroom looking crazy. Everybody said, boy, that boy playing crazy out there, right? You know what I'm saying? He had eyes all boogered, looking wild. No matter how well you do that, they say, you ain't crazy, man. No matter what black folks done been through. According to your account, 1619, 400 years, but ain't nothing wrong with you mentally. Think about that, y'all. Ain't nothing wrong with you mentally after all that you go through. Yes, you live in the fucking ghettos and the hoods and environments, and you eat all this damn garbage and stuff that we give you. And yes, you have the poorest education. And yes, we put chemtrails on it. Yes, your water is tainted with lead. Yes, the paint we use was lead. Yes. But there's nothing wrong with you. You can never use none of that shit for defense when you go in there. But they have always come with sympathy. It's a trauma. A fish died and my flowers died. You can use all that for some kind of defense, but boy, be black, you can't get none of that, right? So that's just what it is. Again, that's how it goes, right? And so again, there we go. Just want to bring that out there for you again. That again, the man who punched out the 11-year-old girl, cold-cocked the 11-year-old girl, basically got the feel going again. He's gonna go to the barbecue and the cookout. Hey, David, how did it feel, man? I mean, I seen the video. I was like, whoa, I know you are a big, strong guy, but my God, I mean, you went way down in your crawl. Put that punch in there. I mean, that was like Babe Ruth knocking a home run, Wow. So, that's all you got? That's, really? What was the name of the judge? I'd love to give him. Oh, shit. Okay, this is Black Bass News. Here's what it is, y'all. You tell me what you think. Moving on to the next one again. Let's get up out of here. And so, how it goes, y'all, right? When it comes to black life, man, there is no equivalency. It is the bottom of the scale. And if you're lucky to just get out of a situation with the grace of whatever who might, count your blessings. Again, I want to thank everybody for your participation. Remember, when you see one another, greet one another. What's good, brother? What's good, sister? Get a universal nod. And that's all you can do. Take all that hate, jealousy, envy, spite from out your ass and understand we is all we got. Understand those with the uniform on the team that you're on. Yes, allies are important. Are yours willing to be in the frying pan once and if shit starts to get hot? Gotta ask them the question. Have you ever heard of John Brown? Is that a story or is it real? Or is it just some fictitious story that y'all told us to make us feel like that there was somebody out here really helping us? Or died for you? You gotta understand that we're closing and dawning on a time where there's some but not all are seeking for your demise, so you must stay vigilant, mindful, cautious, and high spirit. Again, I'm your host, Mr. Blow Your Mind, and this is Black Minds News Report. I want to say peace and love. To the next show, y'all. To the next show.